Cool. Welcome everybody to the continuation of our second public review. We didn't really finish the last one yesterday, or tools PIP, so we're just wrapping that up quickly today. So we'll just literally continue where we left off, even though, meanwhile, the PIP has been updated by John. Just to not make it too complicated for ourselves, we'll start with the implementation, because that's exactly where we ended up yesterday, and just at least wrap it up. I'm not sure if we want to go back after, but at least let's start with the parts that we actually just did not touch upon just yet. Could you actually let me check? Yeah, the mics are all working. Okay, cool. Could you scroll that down then, Carlos, to the implementation? Oh, of course, yes, it's a document. I realize. So you have to.
It's a document. Okay, I'll open it here.
Yeah, you have to open a document.
Let me bring it over.
Yes, perfect.
Where were we?
At the implementation
already.
Yeah, it's a bit, again, some things change, so it's a bit, let's see if this works. All right, let me just read through it. This is a 10-point list. Interesting, bit short, but okay. So, implementation details. Point 1, clarify integration method, collaborate with Star Atlas team. Then point 2, API/MCP access, secure necessary access/docs from the Star Atlas team. Infrastructure setup. Point 3, establish foundational connections. Next, backend logic development, build batch transactions, crafting, pack and sale pack logic. Number 5, basic RAG system development, integrate DAO Knowledge Base, build basic RAG pipeline. And next, technology migration, port relevant components to Google Gemini/GCP. Then number 7, documentation, create... Oh, what happened here?
I don't think we need to read this if no one's here.
Well,
just throwing that out.
We have people here, right? Well, not John himself, but there's people here.
Yeah.
Or what do you mean, Brian?
There's no one here.
Recording it also.
And the recording, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
people.
Exactly.
All
right. So, create documentation, then internal testing, conduct thorough testing of all included deliverables. Number 9, deliver and support, provide Star Atlas team with integration, components/documents, make enhanced Theo with phase 1 scope available via web. And then the last, point 10, community evaluation and feedback, gather feedback on the enhanced web accessible Theo. So, the main, what right away strikes me is that the first point says collaborate with Star Atlas team and secure necessary access/documents from the team. So at this point in time, it is clear that, and it's also, I already see it, the party responsible, that Star Atlas is a party and then needs to at least give their fiat on all of these aspects, else this proposal cannot move forward. That's the first note I see here.
I'm a bit confused because we just talked about that yesterday. Can you mute Emperor?
I was going to see if I could come in.
No, this is just, it's only the counselors talk at these meetings. Sorry.
Oh, mute. Sorry, I missed that part. Yeah, it is open, but that's not necessarily the intent, indeed.
Yeah. So this is. We just gave the feedback yesterday that they shouldn't have items that are dependent on Star Atlas, and this is the revised version, so I'm a bit confused.
No, they can, as long as the Star Atlas team then has given their approval that they will indeed do all these things, then they can.
This is a normal step of coordination with the development team when you are developing a tool for Star Atlas and they give you some information and access to certain tools, right? Or am I...
No, they need more. They need access and documents, and they're literally saying they have to collaborate with the team. So that makes things a bit more interesting. But again, basically, if the team says, "Sure, we'll do that. We'll make time for that," then it's not a problem per se. You can have proposals like that, but yeah, you need to have at least
The problem is
orchestrated
that-
everything in advance with the team so that they acknowledge that and are aware and approve. So
Some
Yeah,
kind
the
of confirmation from the team, correct?
But
Yeah,
the
I mean-
problem is the timeline too. Yeah, if the team can't commit to timeline, we already know they can't because Michael has said this in chat just yesterday. Like they generally can't commit to these pipelines.
But the way I understood that is that they cannot commit to integrate any third tool into their development. But I don't think this is what this is asking. They just need certain information to be able to create that tool, and they need help from the team getting those documents.
This is the fact that we don't know is
Yeah.
it should be feedback to them. We
Mhm.
don't actually know what they're relying on the team for, how long, you know.
That shouldn't be too hard to get a confirmation or an answer that we can't confirm this right now. Maybe Buzek or Xcode or someone can give some input, because it seems to me that if it's just documentation and some kind of dialogue, to ask questions, it should be fine. If
Well,
it's more than that, then we
Just
get
a lot of
into a gray
guessing.
area.
I see Empress saying
we need
it's
to know
in
if-
this
if-
updated
if-
pip, but this is the updated pip, right? As far as I'm aware, this is not. We're not looking at the old one. I think. At least I hope not.
I kind of click on the first link I saw. Let me make sure.
Yeah, let's make sure we're looking at the right one though.
So I click on this link. Here's the pip draft.
Yeah, that looks
Did
like
he
it
go
may
to
be
the
the
newer one?
old one, but perhaps he just changed that. It's a link after all.
I don't
More
see
details.
more links.
At the very top.
So they probably, this is probably a live document that they edit and they.
Yeah, I would assume so. It's a Google Doc after all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. So the first two lines, as far as I know, but again, this is just because, and I think it's a little bit in earlier, but it's quite technical still. But that's just to extract information from the team that they can use in the intelligence / knowledge of the bot, and they want to know how they are able to be able to extract that using either an API or MCP. But nonetheless,
and the reason
yeah.
why and the reason why this is important is because we don't want to give tool $10,000 and then it's not used for 7 months because they're waiting on the Star Atlas team. That's the main reason why we have to make sure this is nailed down.
Yeah.
Yes. Even though we have they need approval from the foundation before going to vote, so that would be what would kill it, right? In that step is where it would basically stall.
Foundation will probably not. I don't think they're up to speed on the time constraints. If the team is fine with it, then they say, yeah, sure. They're not up to speed, of course, that the team is has other stuff to do, or it may take longer or anything like that. So I think it's up to us to, also make sure that the team acknowledges the timetable here. So their role and their timetable, or whatever time constraints. That's a better word. And then everything, it's a pretty short, create integration documentation. It's, I would like to, I don't know, I guess, yeah, just like, again, Eli something, 5, 18, 12, whatever, a bit more context here. I know, of course, we're looking at it now in day 2, and there's more in the specification above. But nonetheless, I feel it could be twice as long, just a little bit more explanation here. Let me just write that down.
It's a good description of the steps, though. As far as the implementation details go, beyond that, we have to confirm the participation from Star Atlas. It's a very detailed order of things that they need to act on, right?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, right? I mean, yeah, it starts with they need information on the team. It ends with they're going to give stuff back to the team. The team plays a huge role in this. And it looks like, I mean, in the middle is actually where they deviate because they want to integrate the DAO knowledge base and also other community data sources. But yeah. All right. I think a little bit more elaboration, and we need indeed the team to commit to everything. But I mean, that can actually be, perhaps that's in the next section because that has to be written down somewhere.
Yeah, and the party's responsibility looks like we will get a little more.
Let's go there, right? I think, or anything else on this section. So parties responsible, the tool team responsible for all development, migration, documentation, testing, and web deployment of the enhanced DAO features specified in this $10,000 scope within the 6-week time frame. Of the enhanced DAO features. Okay, yes. Star Atlas team responsible for collaboration on integration method, providing necessary API docs, feedback, and eventual in-game client integration if they choose on their schedule. I assume the on their schedule applies then purely to the last bit, because of course the first bit is kind of important to stick to their own schedule. So yeah, okay. And then the community responsible for providing feedback, evaluating the enhanced DAO capabilities via web access initially, and voting. Yeah, okay, sure. I mean, okay, that last bit, of course, is you could add that to every pip, I guess, but okay. And I realized now that I don't actually have the knowledge base open with what needs to be in here, which is a bit stupid, but somebody could at least open it in parallel as well. So we are at least making sure everything is in here that should be in here. Carlos, sorry, you also wanted to chime in.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that he mentioned again that in eventual in-game client integration, which means that the first part, I mean, most of these people can happen without integrating it with Star Atlas.
Yeah. And it's fine. I mean,
but at the same time, they do depend a lot on Star Atlas for. But again, I just don't know how simple or complicated is this part of what they need. And
doesn't
how
really
easy
matter.
For
it's basically that the team has to commit to it. If it's easy or difficult, it's up to them. But team needs to commit that they can do that, so that tool can actually finish their work in the time that they. Yeah.
I would prefer that it's getting kind of hard to tell what is actually required by Star Atlas and what's not. It's kind of just scattered a little bit. So I don't know if we need to have like a new section that says like mandatory.
Because API documents shouldn't be, it should be something that is already accessible, and other teams have gotten access. But this is the part where I'm not that involved to understand what's at stake here. You guys are probably better to understand.
It could mean everything. It could mean nothing.
Thank you.
They might not have an API. Like APIs are easy if they have it built, but if it's not built, then it's not easy. And writing docs is also not easy.
Yeah, I'm very curious here. Again, indeed, same topics. I mean, I'm not sure if I do get if the team plays such a big role that the team kind of gets reappears in every section of the pip. But I would say in this case that they really should probably make it ultra clear in what the team needs to do and where the team is optional. And just elaborate a little bit on all that. So I wrote that down here now as well. I mean, for the rest, I think this is clear at least. I mean, again, the community is perhaps a bit, some parts are perhaps a little bit redundant or unnecessary, but it's fine. It's mentioned, it's okay. But the voting part, okay. Technical requirements and changes. That's interesting. That's not really, I think, something we have in our flow, right?
It is suggested that to add that stuff into the implementation, right? The technical requirements or the changes being made by the proposal. That's the way we word it. To make clear what changes being introduced and all that.
Because
it's totally fine having extra.
Yeah, it's
Right?
fine.
There's no
I just
no
yeah, okay.
problem
So
having
let's go over it. But it feels like I see some redundancy. It looks to me. But anyway, technical requirements and changes, collaboration on preferred integration method, access to necessary Star Atlas API documentation endpoints, agreement on data exchange formats, tools development environment and Google Cloud Platform infrastructure, and migration from OpenAI models to Google Gemini. But I think if you completely skip this section, you don't lose any information, because I think perhaps the agreements on data exchange is the only one I haven't seen just now, but everything else is already in implementation. And the migration, I think, was also already mentioned earlier. I mean, it's okay, it's redundant.
Yeah,
Sure,
again,
sure,
we're
it's
forcing
fine. It's fine.
we're forcing every idea to conform us about how we want the information split. So
Yeah, no,
sometimes
that's
in
fine.
order
That's
to
fine. That's
be
fine.
able to answer all, you copy the same information in different places.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, true. That's true. All right. Somebody else wants to start read some things.
Potential challenges and mitigations. Integration method access uncertainty. Dependency on Star Atlas team collaboration. We did mention this, so it's good that he's mentioned it here. Mitigation, proactive communication built with adaptability for either API, MCP. The real mitigation here would be to get confirmation from the team that they're willing to collaborate, right?
Yes,
I
mean
honestly don't have any idea what they're building anymore.
I'm taking into account also that Michael Wagner himself came to promote this idea.
But he also said that they hadn't agreed on an integration in the same chat.
Yeah, exactly. So there's no agreement that this will ever make its way into the game. That's just something that Tool would like to, I think, see. But yeah, I mean, again, they changed the scope a little bit after our first, yesterday, after our review session. So it may be a bit that we are like, feel a bit disoriented because, yeah, due to that.
So Star
so,
integration.
Yeah, so what you said, mitigation, proactive communication, I don't like that. I would like really the team to acknowledge what's happening here and that they indeed say, okay, we have time, yes or no, because this is a very vague, and the team needs to acknowledge anyway that we need to see that the team says, yes, we're going to do that. So mention names, mention somebody who said yes in here. That would be good. I think actually even got that feedback back in the day when with my STV one, like mention who on the team, and I think that I would like to see it here as well. So who said, yes, we're going to help you with this? And are they going to be able to do that once this starts within 6 weeks so you guys can move forward? That is something you can mitigate in advance. Or you
what I get from this line, the information I find valuable here is that they recognize that there's two different ways that they could implement this with API or MCP, and they will try to be ready for both just to, to be sure that, that is covered. That's the only thing I get from this, which is good. So Star Atlas integration timeline. Final in-game integration is outside tools control. True. Mitigation. Deliver a fully functional enhanced Theo via web. Regardless, ensuring player value, provide clear documentation to facilitate easier integration by Star Atlas when ready. So they are willing to move forward with their own webpage, so they don't depend on Star Atlas to start this tool.
I don't think that's what that says at all, but okay.
No, what they yeah. So again,
so the challenge is the integration timeline to get into the game, and they're saying that because that's out of their control, they will start with their own webpage, and they will hope that in the future that gets integrated into the game, which is their final goal, I think. But with this PIP, with these $10,000, they can make it work in their own webpage.
Yes.
I don't understand why they don't have that as the scope of the project. Then is
there's no need
$10,000
to. I think that's probably here because it sells the problem, or it's not the problem. It sells the PIP a little better, but it's the team that basically said, hey, perhaps we do, perhaps we don't. We're also working on our own stuff. I mean, of course, they just announced their collaboration yesterday. with the AI group. So I would indeed kind of suggest that they just strip all that fluff, because just the whole collaboration thing. They can mention it somewhere, like, hey, if we're done, we're going to make it so that the team can easily pull this into the game. But you need that only mention it once at some point, and don't have to mention it everywhere, I feel. And I think I realize now that's basically what Brian said like 10 minutes ago. But now I also realize.
All right, next point is data interpretation accuracy. Ensuring Theo correctly uses Star Atlas data. So that would be the challenge. Mitigation, rigorous testing, validation, community feedback loop. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is a given, I think, with any project, that makes sure that it works.
Fine.
But okay, that's another challenge they see. And the last point is community content vetting, RAG. What does ARG stand for? Do you guys know?
RAG tooling that they haven't actually defined some AI stuff.
No, RAG is wow. It's it's a standard term like MCP, and I'm blanking on both. Some aggregate.
Don't worry, I got Chat GPT up for making all these Ghibli images. What does RAG stand for?
Yeah, it's a nice term.
It's a small piece of fabric to clean the desk.
Rich.
Retrieval augmented generation.
That was it.
It's a natural language processing.
Yeah, it's basically what you.
You augment that retrieved information to enhance the response, and then generation producing a natural language answer based on the original input and the retrieved content.
Basically, you can use RAG to, if you have a RAG set up, you can input websites and documents into your LLM, so it can actually use that information when you ask it questions. That's basically what you need RAG for. And MCP is like with the API. MCP is like a surface that allows the AI to tap into other code and knowledge as well. It's a variant, but it can be more. It's not like static text. It could give back. It could do equations for you, or in this case, apparently provide you with some Star Atlas, perhaps calculations or other things. So it can literally ask, oh, the user is asking me this, then I will, and I have an MCP connection, so, and that is actually equipped to answer me or help me answer this. So I will, use that MCP connection to get part of the answer, and then, it's all AI stuff. But anyway,
right. So the challenge is the community content vetting and ensuring trustworthiness for DAO knowledge base integration. And the mitigations will be focused solely on the official DAO knowledge base for this phase, minimizes vetting complexity.
Yes. This is just focusing on the DAO now, of course. That's just a small piece of Star Atlas, I guess, at this point. But if you would literally take in the knowledge base, then at least you should not make any errors when it comes to DAO information. I think that's what it says here. At least I think. Not 100% sure.
Okay, out of these 4 points of challenges, there's a few that are a little, that don't bring much value to the proposal, but overall,
that's
I don't know. Is there any challenge that you guys see? It's just I am not really aware of how complicated is what they're trying to do.
I don't know if we necessarily need to. Like, we're not subject matter experts on this, so I think we can just say it looks fine, right? Like,
yeah, I wouldn't know what are all the actual challenges they will face, so it's hard for me to.
And I don't think that's our purview, really. It's more.
Yeah, I mean, right, there's the Star Atlas collaboration. Now we kind of would hope to see that change, and then the last two are about. It needs to use the data correctly. And the last part is really about DAO information. And then the integration timeline, final in-game, that should be completely dropped. you would expect something more in the right. There's also some other potential obstacles or challenges in that they're doing new stuff with new technology they haven't done before. I mean, something like that I would actually expect in here as well. Perhaps, unless it's not the case, and they have no, sure, we did this, done that, no issue. But something anyway, yeah. Other than that,
Yeah.
let's just move on, I guess.
One challenge that we usually add in is there should be a line that says if the project fails, then there may be no project, right? So they may not deliver.
If their project fails.
Yeah, there's a chance of them not delivering and the DAO loses.
Yeah, that's exactly that's what I like kind of to see here. Like, yeah.
Yeah, what happens when things don't go as planned?
The DAO could lose $10,000 with no return.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going.
Hosting solution, the enhanced Theo will be hosted in tools existing Google Cloud Platform infrastructure. Okay, timeline.
So yeah, this expected start date within 4 weeks of PIP approval pending initial SA collaboration. This basically means this PIP can't go forward.
No, I mean, if the team told them, well, once it's approved, within 4 weeks we can start. But again, that doesn't that is not stated here. This is a bit, so it's too vague. Again, we need ironclad, or at least somebody on the team saying yes, we can do that, yes, and then fine. It's fine that they need 4 weeks for the team for this team member, for example. I assume it's just one, to clear the schedule to an extent that they can actually commit to it. But it needs to be in text that this is how it works.
All right.
Fair, we could stop beating the dead horse on that, but I just
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, key milestones then. The first two weeks, finalize integration approach, setup, begin backend logic, and migration. Week 3-4, complete care logic development. Weeks 5 and 6, basic RAG again, system implementation, documentation completion, testing, deployment of enhanced web version. Estimated completion date, 6 weeks from project start. That's a very quick implementation deadline. I like that.
Yeah. They mentioned that before, so I think also with the scope decreasing.
Very
that's
detailed.
Yeah, and this sounds good to me personally. Yeah.
They only need that. So the only thing that would make this part better is just to have a prior confirmation by the Star Atlas in any way.
Yeah, I see Bohemian also saying that, but that exactly Bohemian, that last line, that's exactly what we've been mentioning so far a few times now. This is not enough regarding the assurances from the team, indeed. All right, dependencies. Determination. Oh, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I think I'll help you or take over. But determination of integration method via collaboration with the team. Yes, that's definitely important. Provision of necessary integration details / access by the team. Availability of the Sage local market API from Star Atlas, if applicable for phase 1 scope. Okay, now I have to go back. I mean, when is this applicable? Where is that determined if this is applicable? And the Sage local market API, okay, that's something I think the econ team with the dashboard may be working on then, but okay. Ongoing collaboration / communication with the team, and the DAO approval of this PIP, and confirmation of the principle for the fee repayment mechanism based on the 10K grant.
Yeah, the last one is obvious,
But that's all. I mean, that whole last line is kind of, again, a bit superfluous because that's kind of how PIPs work in that sense.
Intrinsic in the process, yeah.
But I mean, unless they want to say, hey, we're not going to do this unless, which I get, and that's fine. But that's already kind of implied potentially. But yeah.
And again, most of these points depend on the Star Atlas team confirmation.
The thing is, I mean, the one thing I would say is, I mean, there's just a sudden drop of the Sage local market API. I don't think we've seen that before anywhere. So I'm kind of curious where this now comes from all of a sudden. And also, apparently, they're not even sure if it's applicable. So who determines this applicability So that one line raises questions with me. I would like
that's
to.
huge because we would love to have a local market API instead of having to pull directly from the chain. And I question the availability of that. I don't think that that's a priority. So that's another question, like a specific question. So I guess this is more detailed than they didn't provide. Like, what were they waiting for? This is now what they're waiting for, is the local market API.
Well, I mean,
so maybe this is the you're asking for.
No, I mean, they did, beforehand they mentioned that they are not sure about API MCP and that they also need documentation, and then they just mentioned this. So yeah, it's a good question. Is this what you want, or is this an additional thing? And that's why I'm confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good to check with John, and
Yeah.
and he needs to try to get some answers from someone in the team.
Bohemian, we don't have metrics to deem a project as successful. It's not really, the PIP holders can decide if it's successful. That's not.
Well, I mean,
Bohemian asks,
that's true, but you would hope that the people writing the PIP, of course, can describe when it should be successful. And again, that could be above because we just jumped in at the second part now. But
well, his question was how is it deemed successful, right? That
yeah, but that
implies
can also be like,
we're-
how do they deem it successful? I guess. I mean,
Well,
you can interpret it in
they
two
do
ways.
mention that. Yeah, the deliverables are the tool, the AI tool to analyze Star Atlas loops and opportunities.
Yeah.
So that's the deliverable. I'm just answering to Bohemian here.
Yeah, he came in late, so that's probably why he's also asking that question.
Yeah, we have talked about this internally in the council because there's no any other person in the DAO that will follow up. It kinds of fall in our back to make sure that the PIPs approved were successful. We mean they use the funding for the purpose that they wanted to use it, and that's basically all we can check, right, as a council. But yeah, it's up to the community to judge how successful or not it is.
And that's something that maybe will be added on in future,
Yeah, that would be a great work group to have some people a little more savvy that on coding and stuff that could go and check and make sure their advances or the things are working properly.
There's also no milestone on this. We just give them the money and we assume that they're going to do a good job. They're going to finish it, and part of that assumption is voting. If you don't think they're reliable, then you would vote no. If you think that they're going to finish the job, you vote yes. So it all happens at the voting phase.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, and I guess I understand that's implied, but it's not actually in here, right? If they're doing that or not. Like, there's no, like, we want the funds in advance, we want the funds after the fact, we want the funds in 2 milestone. There's no information, I think, at all. So you could say we default to that, which I understand, and that's understandable, but actually as the DAO, I'm not sure we want to default to that. I think we would prefer to default to giving it you after the fact instead of before the fact if you deliver. So yeah, I would just ask them like
afterwards.
I prefer to pay people afterwards. Yeah, always if I could. It's safer, just more risk averse. So if
should be the default, and then there can be exceptions that are made to it, but that should be the default. Yes.
Unless they say milestones,
reimbursement instead of funding,
right? Or they can say we want this up front, this midway, this at the end. That's all good, but there's no instructions. There's no funding instructions, or what do you call that? Payment instructions, I guess, or so that's kind of missing.
Yeah, and just to clarify, there are not rules. There are not rules against this. These are recommendations to make easy for you to get approved in a vote, because all those blur lines need to be clear for people to really trust. All right, shall we move to the cost and resource allocation?
Yes.
Yep, I'll read. One-time cost, 6-week project scope for this PIP. Integration readiness, backend logic, dev, and tech migration, 8,000. Basic RAG system, DAO Knowledge Base integration only, $2,000. Total requested, $10,000. Justification covers dedicated developer time for the specified feature development, core logic, basic RAG, integration readiness, tech stack migration, documentation within the 6-week timeframe, adhering to DAO funding preferences, payment requested upon commencement to facilitate resource allocation, source of funding, requesting allocation from the Star Atlas DAO Ecosystem Fund, USDC preferred for cost certainty, deferred scope, prototype analytics dashboard, a $3,500 value, and advanced RAG features with $1,500 value are removed from this phase and may be proposed in future PIPs. So that answers one of our questions: is when do they want the money? They want it up front.
Yes. Yep, that's a good point.
Yep, payment requested upon commencement.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's fine. We can still
where-
suggest that they may want to reconsider that, but they can. Leave it like this. It's up to them. Yeah, it's up to them.
Again, they have to weigh, this is a negotiation with polls holders.
Yes.
I like the way they are suggesting the following PIP for more funding after this. It is clear, the fair scope. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they also list the cost that would incur into, which is $5,000.
Yep.
At least that's very clear. Where does it say? Did I miss that? Where does it say that it's upfront?
Justification, last line.
Payment.
You're already there. Here. Your mouse is on top.
Request.
Yeah.
Last sentence under justification.
No, go down.
No.
You were there. Yes, there. Exactly in the middle of the screen. Justification. Payment requested upon commencement.
Okay, yeah. I missed that.
All right.
The ongoing cost now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hosting and maintenance, $200 to $300 a month. AI model maintenance and updates, between $100 and $200 a month. Community content moderation, RAG, if expanded later. That will be for the next section, the next PIP that hasn't been made yet. $100 to $200 a month. Justification necessary for maintaining service availability, accuracy, and reliability. Source of funding. Tool aims to cover these ongoing costs via its share of potential future transaction fees. Receive after the 10,000 grant repayment is complete.
Mm-hmm. Yep, sounds good.
Management. The Toolie team will
Happy to
manage
see.
ongoing efforts.
Yep. Well, but this is good stuff. I mean, the 10,000 grant repayment, I know it was mentioned above. I'm just wondering if that should not also be perhaps mentioned in the implementation section or somewhere. But okay, that's yeah. I would have to go back, I guess, to really see that.
Yeah. So at least we know the total amount they're asking for, which is 10,000.
Yeah, and they
And
hope to
upon
repay
this being
it through
successful,
fees.
they might add.
And afterwards, they will keep the money to pay for these ongoing costs. Again, perfectly fine. Very happy
Good.
to see that they don't seek to get funding for that as well.
Additional details. Conflicts of interest. Dr. John Ennis, author, is CEO of Tool. Approval benefits Tool via the 10,000K development funds. Disclosed transparently. Tool believes the integration and repayment structure strongly benefit the Star Atlas community and DAO. Grant, not loan. The requested 10,000 is a non-repayable development grant for this specific scope. The fee return mechanism is based on recouping this 10,000 grant, not a debt obligation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Fair.
Earlier versions, the proposal revises previous draft to meet the $10,000 funding target by deferring specific deliverables. That's very clear.
Yeah, but unnecessary, that last line, because that deals with the previous pips, not versions of the draft up until the point you actually have the pip you want to put up. So that last line is just there are no earlier versions.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're not here, you won't have that context.
Exactly, and this is confusing.
So
So
Brian,
there is just no.
read the conclusions here so we don't have an accent.
Yeah, this is again right. This looks like an AI conclusion. So I always think these conclusions should be in the summary or somehow mashed into the rest, because that's not really. But okay. Anyway, conclusion. Next steps. This proposal outlines a focused, cost-effective 6-week project requesting 10,000 USDC to enhance Theo with core economic features, batch transactions, and recommendations. Build integration readiness, implement basic RAG, DAO Knowledge Base only, migrate to Gemini, and provide documentation. It delivers immediate value through an improved web-accessible assistant and foundational infrastructure. The prototype analytics dashboard and advanced RAG features are deferred for potential future consideration. The proposed DAO repayment mechanism, based on the 10K grant, reduces financial risk. Tool is prepared to begin work promptly upon approval of this 10,000 pip and collaboration with the Star Atlas team. Yes. Again, this sounds good. This is, I mean, there's no need, and this may be because they're changing stuff to, again, point to the potential future stuff that has been deferred. Like, we don't have to read it everywhere. I understand why it's here, because people are making these changes, and but that you could just strip that. You could mention if at one point, hey, we would like to do this next, but you don't have to reference that everywhere, because again, people have no context that it was even there when it's online for voting. So that would be, and I would merge this potentially. I don't have to, but yeah, this sounds like a good summary to a good extent.
I think it's a great summary, to be honest.
Yeah.
You can get a whole idea of the whole PIP just reading this.
I mean, I still don't know what they're delivering after reading this conclusion.
So what they at least do, they're going to extend Theo, at least with access of the DAO knowledge base. So that's nice. And core economic features like they batch transactions. Oh, right. This has, I think, to do with the fact that I think that was mentioned, or I just know somehow that they want, if you want to buy several ships, that they buy all those ships in one go instead of separate or like resources, that they buy everything in one go, like a ship and certain resources, without doing it one by one, saving you transaction fees. I believe.
I guess it doesn't make sense to me because I've never used Theo. So if somebody has never used Theo, they're like Theo is not actually defined anywhere.
It is. Well, I think it should be, but I think it is, or it has a link. Because I know we had this. Here it is. About Theo. Yeah, exactly.
We did that yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's a bit.
So this is just an enhancement on their tool, the tool.
Basically.
Yeah,
and preparing it for integration within the Star Atlas game.
So this new pip is just enhancing the tool. It doesn't have the dashboard or any of the other bits. I think that's the confusion. So yesterday it had more stuff.
Yes, yesterday it had more stuff.
Just enhancing their cool.
Exactly. Okay. Exactly.
All right, we're getting there.
All right, that was the end of it.
Yeah.
Oh, appendix. These are the Q&A, which I thought they provided good clarification.
That was my question. What is Theo today?
Yeah, scroll down and then Brian can read it.
Brian can
read it. Oh, but this basically says the same. It's I think they integrated this. They integrated this into the pip, right? This is just the same list we have above, or at least I think most of the same list. I'm not sure that last line was there.
I'm hearing from Cracker cutting out now.
Okay, so this is starting to make sense. They're taking their current system Theo and they're using Star Atlas APIs to enhance it, because right now it's probably just using the web like a normal chat LLM. So that's why this new scope really has to have the Star Atlas stuff, or they can't enhance it.
Enhanced Theo core backend. Okay, so this is what they would be getting from that API, correct?
I think they should be able to, the BACS transaction already exists. They can already do that. The integrated crafting recommendation logic, they could do that if they went on chain. Yeah, all of this is on chain except for, looks like the cell pack is the API. But this is different than the Theo making like recommendations, I think. Actually, it's not clear. Do they still want the local markets database API in order to make crafting recommendations?
Well, that is the thing. They only mentioned that in that one
Probably.
section, and they didn't mention it before, I think. But
Basic
this document, this whole, I mean, this should kind of be clear from the proposal and using just clear language like is also in here. So I would really suggest that they merge these two things. It's fine if the proposal's twice as long as it's also then twice as clear. But yeah.
And technically, it's not up to us to like make sure it's like well written, except it needs to be well written enough that it can go to the foundation and the foundation can review it. And that's like number one. They need to be able to review this.
I see Beam asking how many people are using
so
Theo, but
they-
that's really irrelevant. Of course, that's nice information to have, perhaps as a voter, but not for judging this PIP. Even if there's 0 people using it, they can still make a PIP and ask for the funding. So
This
Yeah, that's
also clear
question.
my doubts about the mic. What then? Which
So that's actually quite like side note. Technically, Google Gemini is a lot cheaper, so having that port is quite useful.
collaborate with Star Atlas.
Yeah,
Work closely with Star Atlas team on the integration approach and provide the necessary components from tool side. While tool will build Theo to be ready for integration, the final implementation timeline within the Star Atlas client depends on the Star Atlas team schedule and priorities. Okay, he did mention all that in the PIP. Beyond phase 1, potential future distinctions could include more sophisticated AI analysis, opt-in automated trading, expanded RAG, guild tools, smart swaps, player analytics, dashboards, etc. Theo aims to become foundational economic infrastructure within the Star Atlas. These are ideas, not deliverables of phase 1. What kind of newcomers does tool support? Potentially, tools tech includes audited smart swap, contracts for multi-item, multi-party trades. Phase 1 does not implement this. Smart swapping could be explored in a future phase.
Again, I would, to an extent, I mean, perhaps not this, what kind of newcomers.
What gets delivered and where? Okay,
we don't need to go over
integrate
this.
No, we don't have to go over the whole
outside
this
of the-
document. Yeah. But I would just recommend John or whoever's writing this that they try to merge as much of
This is outside of our specs, so if they want to add it, they can.
Yeah, can you give example how I'll use the new phase 1 features? This is helpful. Batch transaction staging, stage sale of 20 fuel, 50 food, 10 toolkits, Theo staging orders, review, and sign the transaction via your wallet. Execution requires integration with other contracts. Integrated crafting, sell packs.
I would even suggest that he just copy paste this into the PIP, right? Because this is also just helpful for people, and giving them examples of what they can do is probably a very good way to sell it. So, I would definitely suggest that they pick that up. But let's wrap it up, I guess, here then, folks, because we're almost at the 1 hour.
It's almost a shame that it's a separate document.
Yeah, it is. It's a nice document, but that's why I think that's interesting, because then you probably want to merge stuff back into the PIP. So that would be my recommendation.
It definitely would have helped us reading it if this stuff was up there, because we had questions, and we obviously didn't. We're
Well, I
not,
mean,
like,
to be
flipping
fair
back and
again,
forth
right,
between the
we-
FAQ and the PIP.
Splitting it over 2 days was, and changing it midway through was also not really super practical, but we're trying. But I think 1 hour should be enough, or almost 1 hour for today, going over this
Yeah.
last part.
All
Yeah,
right.
let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up, and let's pick it back up once perhaps the last changes have been, or like there's a new version after this feedback round. But we'll pick that up internally, like we do with all PIPs. We do 1 public review, and then we do the rest, the follow-ups internally, just
There's
to
a lot
speed it up.
information here, guys.
Yeah, that's nice, exactly, and would be good to.
There's a lot of information.
Yeah, I like that they're thorough. And
When are you, Ronald? When are you planning on sending? Because you have the notes on the.
Yeah, I hope this
The
weekend.
review from yesterday and
Yeah,
today.
when you,
Because I wrote a whole bunch of stuff down, but it is not completely comprehensible. So I'll probably have to go over our review at twice the speed again, to really make sure I got everything. So it will take me some time to do that. That said, I think Bohemian already kind of
Overall,
picked
I
up our
think it's a
review.
fantastic PIP.
Yeah, sorry, we're out of sync.
so did Rising, actually.
Oh, right. Everybody already did. Well, in that case, I don't have to do anything, perhaps.
Hello?
If everybody
Yeah.
picks up the video, then perhaps I don't have to write anything down.
Yeah, he said he watched. Actually, yeah, he said he watched the video and took all the feedback. So I would just skip it.
Well, I mean, if I can, then of course that would save me some time, or I
Save
can
you
just.
some good 5 hours.
Yes, it will take some time for sure. For some reason, I'm running out of sync with you guys, so it's probably best to close it down anyway.
I think Funcracker is having the problems I was having yesterday now. I see you sometimes like
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
cutting out.
All right, he's gone. All right, let's wrap this up.
All right,
Thanks,
thank
guys.
everyone. If you have any more questions from this, you can reach out to us.
Yep. I'm
We'll
still here,
keep,
but my camera is
working
shut
this
down.
behind the stage now.
Thanks, folks.
Yeah, you shut down, so we'll
Yeah.
just see ya.
Let's wrap it up. Bye-bye.
All right,
Bye-bye.
thank you, everyone.
Can you end the event, Funcracker?
Yes, I will do that.
I think after, yeah.
Perfect. Bye bye.